My name is Sean Chavis. I didn't know this slide was going to be here. I'm going to talk about food, and since I have to wait 15 seconds, I will take the time to tell you that I'm a hose hater. One of the emerging conversations about food in this country is conscious eating, and it can be really overwhelming. Is your food organic? Is it fair trade? Is it sustainable? Is it local? Was it farmed or wild? If it was wild, well, how was it caught? If it was farmed, was it raised humanely? Have you noticed all this is getting kind of snobby? People break out into food fights. We smear each other's food choices. We guilt trip people out for eating hamburgers or frozen pizza. We stretch the truth to prefer one philosophy over another. How do you wade through all of that and find your own personal moral food compass, something that drives your food decisions, something you can live with every day, something that you feel good about? I've been without a moral food compass, and let me tell you, it is not a comfortable position. I've been known to apologize to oysters seconds before shucking and slurping them. Once, I promised to live without pork, and I ended up sneaking over to my cousin's house for a midnight pork chop run. I'm not alone, because 2 weeks ago on NPR's health blog, there was an article that called bacon the gateway meat. It said that bacon has a way of awakening carnivorous desires within some of the most preachiest of vegetarians. Now, maybe bacon really is that sinister, but what if bacon is a sign to some people saying that you have not found your personal food compass? How do you dig in with a clear conscience? I didn't really have any answers to that question until 3 years ago when I became a Quaker. Now, let me make something clear. Nobody I worship with dresses like the oatmeal dude. Here's how Quakers helped me find my moral food compass. And I'm sharing this with you not to proselytize, but because I think this is an idea that anybody can use. Quakers have directional pointers for a living called testimonies. And Quakers believe that it's up to each individual to best decide how to apply the testimonies in his or her own life. Now, I love this idea because I hate following other people's rules. I suck at it. I suck at following rules and creeds and doctrines. And Quakers believe that instead of basing on creeds and doctrines, that you should follow your inner light, that you should base your faith on your experiential knowledge. I love this because I'm lost. Anyway, the testimonies are really easy to remember with the acronym SPICES, and which is really great for this talk about food. As I go through them, I'm going to just throw out a few questions for you to think about. Some you may have already thought about, and you might think of some more. The first one is simplicity. What does that mean to you? Does it mean getting frozen meals you can microwave in minutes? Does it mean eating bland mush day in and day out? Or does it mean enjoying the simple pleasure of a really great piece of chocolate melting in your mouth? The next one is peace. How do we use food to foster peace? Do you know that lack of food has been linked to armed conflict? So do we send aid around the world, or do we encourage farmers to raise food for themselves and their own neighbors? The third testimony is integrity. Do you really know where your food comes from? What's a fair price for food? Are you struggling to live with somebody else's food rules and sucking at it and feeling guilty as a result? The fourth is community. When was the last time you had a meal with somebody? How do your food dollars support your local economy? Does everybody in your community have access to fresh, healthy, affordable food? And the next testimony is equality. Have you ever thought about the people who produce your food? What they're paid? How are they treated? Do they get to exercise their rights as human beings? What they go home to at night? And the last testimony is stewardship. If you went into a fish market and you were faced with these choices, would you know which is considered the most environmentally sustainable? How about how do we use our land and water to make sure that our children and people all over the world have the resources they need to feed themselves? So here's an example of how I applied testimonies to my own life. Off and on for many years, I've struggled with whether I should go vegetarian. And after I became a Quaker, I thought, let me think about this, applying the testimonies. And I came to the conclusion that using my money to buy meat that I know is raised with care could have more power. So I buy locally raised meat like this pork from Sequatchie Farm in Tennessee. Now, somebody else could take the same question and apply the same testimonies and come to a totally different conclusion, and that's okay. Among Quakers, we trust each other to make conscious decisions for ourselves. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. And I also want to encourage you to remember that food is ultimately about bringing people together. We shouldn't let it separate us. Thank you very much.